My name is Lily Reynolds. I'm 29, a copywriter living in New York City. I love overcast days, strong coffee, melancholic playlists, and, wishfully, quiet subway rides. I never used to believe in fate, soulmates, or serendipitous encounters. I liked plans, controlled to-do lists, push notifications. Predictable, stable life, that was me. Until the day I lost my phone on the subway. Yeah, I know, sounds silly, a phone. But that phone held more than my apps and calendar. It held my routine, my most recent memories, and my last unsent message to my ex. Losing it somehow made space for something else to find me. Imagine losing something as trivial as your phone. And with it, losing your grip on routine, only to gain a new chance at love. This is the story of how a random Instagram message became the beginning of my greatest love story. That morning had all the makings of just another Tuesday. Late as usual, I rushed down the steps of the 14th Street station, cursing my poor decision to binge watch a whole season instead of sleeping. I jumped into the train, found a corner seat, and exhaled. Headphones in, coffee in hand, scrolling through my feed. And just as I was laughing at a dumb meme, everything shifted. The train jolted to a sudden stop, my coffee sloshed dangerously. I scrambled to grab everything, phone, cup, tote bag, but something slipped. Before I could react, my phone slid down, bounced, and rolled right out of the train, just as the doors were closing. I froze, heart pounding. It wasn't just a device. It was my life, messages, passwords, photos, contacts, that unfinished draft to my ex. The loss hit deeper than I'd imagined. I spent the rest of the day in a fog, like something had been physically ripped from me. And no, of course I didn't have a backup. I kept saying, next week I'll do it. Classic. I tried calling, texting from my friend's phone, even using the tracker. Nothing. It was turned off. I resigned myself to the thought that someone had taken it and would never return it. Quiet morning, but life has a twisted sense of timing. That night, back at my apartment, I borrowed my roommate's phone to check my social media. I logged into Instagram and there it was, a message request. Hey, I found a phone on the subway today. I saw a few pictures and managed to find your profile. I've got it with me. Let me know if it's yours. My heart skipped a beat. For a second, I thought it might be a scam. But something about the message felt genuine, simple, kind. I replied cautiously, Hi, I think that might be mine. What was the lock screen photo? His answer came quickly. A pic of you with a dog and a Christmas scarf. Very stylish, by the way. I laughed. That was Max, my golden retriever. That little detail made me trust him just enough. We arranged to meet the next day at a busy cafe in Soho. I insisted on public place safety. He didn't mind at all. Totally understand. I just want to return it to its owner. What I didn't know then was that he wasn't just returning a phone. He was returning a part of me I didn't realize was missing. That night, for the first time in days, I fell asleep smiling. An odd mix of nerves and calm in my chest. As if life was nudging me towards something new, something unexpected. The next morning I arrived early. Way too early. I picked a table by the window at Cafe Miro, one of those cozy spots with brick walls, indie music, and oat milk everything. My fingers tapped nervously on the table, heart playing a drum solo in my chest. I kept wondering what he'd look like. I had no profile picture to go off. Just a name. His Instagram handle was something vague like at Lost and Found. Nick. Who does that? Then he walked in. Dark green coat, slightly messy curls, holding a navy blue phone case, mine. Our eyes met for just a second, and he smiled. Not a grand movie scene kind of smile. Just enough to disarm me. Lily? He asked, tilting his head. I nodded. Yeah, you must be Ethan, he said, offering the phone like a peace treaty. Found this little guy under the bench. I took it, half laughing. Thank you. Seriously, I thought I'd never see it again. We sat. I offered to buy him coffee. He declined, then accepted when I insisted. We started talking first about the phone, then about how crowded subways can be, then about playlists, dogs, the best ramen in the East Village. I lost track of time. He was easy to talk to. That kind of person who actually listens. Rare these days. I found myself telling him things I hadn't said to anyone in months. including about the breakup, including about how I felt stuck lately, like life was passing but I wasn't in it. He just nodded, thoughtful. No judgment. Only curiosity. After an hour, I realized I hadn't even checked my phone. I'd gotten it back, but something else was happening. When we finally stood to leave, he hesitated, then said, "Hey, would it be weird if I asked to see you again?" Without the lost phone excuse? I blinked, smiled. Not weird at all. And just like that, we exchanged numbers, this time intentionally. I walked home with my phone back in my pocket, but my mind, it was far ahead, dreaming up a whole new playlist. One with a lot more beginnings. I didn't expect to hear from him so soon. But that same evening, just after dinner, my phone lit up with a message. "Ethan, hey, just wanted to say it was really nice meeting you today. Glad I got to return your phone and meet its lovely owner." I stared at the screen, biting my lip like a teenager. I waited a few minutes before replying. Not because I wanted to play it cool. I was genuinely nervous. Me. You too. Thanks again for being the most charming lost and found guy ever. I owe you more coffee. He replied almost immediately. "Ethan, then let me officially cash that in. Dinner sometime this week? Cue the butterflies." I agreed. Over the next few days, we messaged constantly. Long threads about books, music, weird dreams. Or random subway poetry he made up, like, "Ethan, she left the train, but her playlist remained in my veins. Should I keep my day job?" I laughed more in those few days than I had in months. He had this gentle, quirky humor that felt like a warm breeze cutting through the gray monotony of my usual days. When Friday came, we met again, this time for dinner at a little Thai place he claimed had the best green curry in the city. And honestly, it did. The conversation flowed as easily as it had in the cafe. No awkward silences. No performative first date nerves. Somewhere between dessert and paying the check, I looked at him and thought, this wasn't random. He walked me home. At the front of my building, we lingered like characters waiting for their next line. "I had a great time," he said. "Me too." We hugged. The kind of hug that says more than a kiss would dare. When I got upstairs, I sat on the couch, phone in hand, and texted him. "Me, if I ever lose my phone again, I hope you're the one who finds it." "Ethan, deal, but next time just text me. I'd rather not rely on fate." And just like that, we slipped into each other's days. Softly, steadily, like we'd been meant to find each other all along. By the third week, it was hard to remember what life felt like before Ethan. We were texting good mornings and good nights, sharing playlists, swapping memes, and debating which bagels in the city were actually worth the hype. He told me stories about his childhood in Vermont, how he used to dream of being a comic book artist. I shared about my messy breakups, my dad's terrible cooking, and how I once cried over a dog food commercial. We weren't dating, not officially. But we weren't not either. Then came the day he invited me to a photography exhibit. "It's all about everyday NYC moments," he said. Thought it sounded like us. I wore a soft blue dress I hadn't to put on in over a year, the kind that made me feel like myself again. He showed up with 2 coffees and a camera slung around his neck. Inside the gallery, we wandered between photos of subways, rainy windows, strangers mid-laugh, graffiti hearts. At one point, I caught Ethan staring at a photo longer than the others. It was a simple shot, a phone forgotten on a subway bench. He turned to me and whispered, "Funny how one small thing left behind can lead you somewhere entirely new." My heart did that flutter thing again. Later, walking through Washington Square Park, we paused near the fountain. The sun was setting, casting that golden film over everything. He sat on the edge and looked at me. I know this started with a phone, and maybe it's crazy, but this feels like more than coincidence, doesn't it? I nodded quietly. Yeah, it really does. That night, we kissed for the first time. It wasn't cinematic or orchestrated. It was shy, slow, sincere. The kind of kiss that comes not from passion alone, but from deep recognition. And from that moment on, it was official. We were something real. Fast forward 6 months. Ethan and I were now one of those couples who finish each other's sentences, share earbuds on the train, and argue over which pizza place deserves our loyalty. My phone? It's still the same one he returned to me. I never replaced it. Couldn't. It felt like the start of everything. He met my parents. My mom cried. His friends joked that he found love through a lost and found service. We laughed, but deep down we both knew there was nothing random about any of it. We moved in together this fall. A tiny apartment in Brooklyn with too many books and not enough closet space. On the first night, Ethan placed a small photo frame on our dresser. Inside was a picture he took that day at the gallery, the one of the phone on the subway bench. Below it, he'd written, "Where our story began." Sometimes when life gets noisy or stressful, I catch myself looking at that photo. It reminds me that beautiful things often begin in unexpected ways, in interruptions, in detours, in what we almost missed. And every time Ethan reaches for my hand during a walk or sends me a goofy voice note from the grocery store, I remember I thought I lost something that day. But really, I found something, someone. So if you're reading this hoping for a sign, maybe this is it. Maybe love isn't always a grand gesture or fireworks at first sight. Maybe it's a lost phone, a kind stranger, a quiet coffee shop in Soho. And maybe, just maybe, the best parts of your life begin exactly where you least expect them.
The end.